The Zodiac Killer, Terror Unmasked. Awakening in a quiet suburb of San Francisco, the morning paper might carry more than just the mundane. Imagine it bearing a cryptic cipher from a villain who seems as untouchable as he is ruthless. This was the reality in the late 1960s and early 1970s as the Zodiac Killer, an enigmatic murderer, toyed with the San Francisco Bay Area. His mocking letters sent to newspapers, in which he claimed numerous murders, were sprinkled with taunting clues, creating a chilling air of mystery and fear. What made him so daunting, so disturbing, was not just the brutality of his crimes, but his eerie engagement with the public and the police, catalyzing a media frenzy and a formidable challenge for law enforcement. This essay explores the labyrinthine tale of the Zodiac Killer, whose true identity remains one of the greatest unresolved mysteries in the annals of American crime. Chapter: The Birth of a Nightmare. The early crimes. The Zodiac's reign of terror commenced with what appeared to be a straightforward double murder at Lake Herman Road in December 1968. College students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday planned an ordinary first date, but it turned tragically fatal, as both were shot in cold blood. Amidst the quiet of the night, another couple at Blue Rock Springs Park would fall prey to the Zodiac only 7 months later. This pattern of targeting young couples in secluded areas began to cultivate a palpable fear within the local communities. The urgency and gruesomeness of these attacks swiftly captured public attention, yet what escalated the concern was the brazen way the Zodiac chose to announce these and future crimes: through letters to the media. Cryptic correspondence, analyzing the Zodiac's letters. Within weeks of the murders, local newspapers received letters from someone claiming responsibility, bringing a sinister twist to the unfolding drama. The letters were not merely confessions, they were boasts that included details only the killer would know. Autopsies and crime scene investigations confirmed these chilling details, authenticating the sinister author's claims. The casual tone and eerie confidence with which these letters were written chilled readers and investigators alike. Beyond the shock value, these letters were cunningly crafted to engage the public, provoke law enforcement, and perpetuate the author's self-made lore. This communication strategy was perverse, yet undeniably effective in sowing terror and confusion. The ciphers, a game of codes. Arguably, the most tantalizing and enigmatic aspect of the Zodiac's correspondence were the ciphers he included. These coded messages promised the identity of the killer should they be solved. The initial cipher, sent in parts to 3 different newspapers, was cracked by a schoolteacher and his wife, not by professional cryptographers or law enforcement. This decipherment merely revealed a disturbing declaration of the killer's enjoyment of murder rather than his identity. The subsequent ciphers, however, have remained largely unsolved, weaving a complex web that challenges both amateur and professional cryptologists to this day. These cryptic puzzles served not only to mystify, but also to taunt the intellectual capabilities of those attempting to catch him. Media manhunt, the role of journalism in the mystery. The media's role in the Zodiac case was profound. By choosing to publish his letters and ciphers, newspapers became unwitting accomplices in the killer's game. This decision was controversial, but driven by a combination of public interest pressures and the hope that widespread dissemination could lead to a break in the case. As the letters grew increasingly derisive, mocking police efforts with overt disdain, they also spurred a corresponding rise in public engagement. This was not merely reporting, it was an interactive, though horrifying narrative unfolding in real time. Journalists found themselves walking a fine line between informative reporting and sensationalism. The Zodiac case thus serves as a compelling study of ethical journalism, especially in cases involving serial killers where the stakes are unimaginably high. The victims, profiles, and impacts. Each victim of the Zodiac Killer was, above all, a human being with dreams, families, and stories cut tragically short. Betty Lou Jensen, David Faraday, Darlene Ferrin, and others were not merely footnotes in this macabre saga, they were its unwilling, tragic heroes. Through interviews with families and friends alongside an analysis of the social impacts of each murder, we gain insight into the profound ripple effects of such violent crimes. The loss of these lives left a permanent scar on their communities. It's through understanding who these victims were that we can truly measure the depth of the Zodiac's depravity, not only in the act of murder, but also in his blatant disregard for the sanctity of human life. Law enforcement response challenges and tactics. From the outset, the investigation into the Zodiac murders was hampered by a myriad of challenges. The killer's operational geography spanned multiple jurisdictions, leading to inevitable delays and conflicts between various law enforcement agencies. Additionally, the ERA's technological limitations severely constrained forensic capabilities. The case demanded novel investigative techniques, including the use of media to disseminate information and solicit public tips. The various tactics employed, from standard detective work to more innovative approaches like television appeals, illustrate both the desperation and determination of law enforcement to capture a killer who was, metaphorically and often literally, always one step ahead. Psychological portrait inside the mind of the Zodiac. Drawing from the killer's letters, crime scenes, and behaviors, experts have constructed profiles suggesting that the Zodiac might have been an individual driven by an immense need for control and recognition. His communications suggest high intelligence, possibly coupled with sociopathic tendencies, indicating a person who saw the world in a markedly detached, egocentric manner. The pleasure derived from terrorizing the public and eluding police implies pathological grandiosity and a deep-seated malice. This profile, while speculative, helps frame our understanding of why the Zodiac acted as he did, committing not just physical crimes but also psychological warfare. The suspects. Who could be behind the mask? Over the decades, numerous suspects have been proposed, each backed by varying degrees of conjecture and circumstantial evidence. Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester, emerged as a compelling suspect due to several coincidences and direct accusations, but definitive physical evidence has never been produced. Another suspect, Rick Marshall, was known for his interest in ciphers and had access to the same movie schedules referenced in the Zodiac letters, although he too was never definitively linked to the crimes. The investigation field was wide and included many other less-known individuals who exhibited traits or had connections that drew law enforcement's suspicion. The multitude of suspects only magnifies the complexity of the case and the challenging task of profiling such a cunning adversary. Public fascination, the cultural impact. The Zodiac Killer has permeated all facets of pop culture, from movies and books to television shows and podcasts. His ability to evade capture, coupled with his cryptic messages, has made him an enduring symbol of fear and fascination. Why does society have such a morbid curiosity about this criminal? The reasons are manifold. From the thrill of the chase to the enigma of his identity, the Zodiac story taps into the visceral fears and compelling attraction humans have towards the abyss of the human psyche. Analyzing this cultural phenomenon provides insights into not just the event itself, but our reactions to it, reflecting broader societal attitudes towards crime, justice, and mystery. Zodiac in cinema: true crime on screen. The Zodiac Killer's mystery has proven irresistible to filmmakers, resulting in several cinematic renditions that attempt to recount his terror or resolve his enigma. David Fincher's 2007 film Zodiac, which meticulously portrays the investigation, stands out as a particularly thorough exploration of the case. These adaptations are noteworthy not only for their entertainment value, but also for how they shape our perceptions of the Zodiac. Through dramatic reenactments, filmmakers have the power to humanize the victims, demonize the perpetrator, or, in some cases, sensationalize the violence, impacting public memory and discourse around the case. Therein lies the dual role of film as both educator and manipulator, possibly even contributing to the myth-making around such figures as the Zodiac. The continuing mystery: why the Zodiac remains unsolved. Despite moderate advances in forensic technology, the Zodiac case remains open, albeit cold. The combination of his cryptic communication style, the era's limited forensic capabilities, and jurisdictional challenges created a perfect storm that hindered a swift resolution. Experts argue that resolution may hinge not just on DNA breakthroughs, but also on revisiting and analyzing the amassed contextual evidence through modern psychological profiling and data analysis techniques. The possibility remains that, one day, a re-examination could yield the answer that has eluded so many for so long. This unresolved aspect contributes significantly to the enduring intrigue around the Zodiac, positing him not just as a historical figure, but as a contemporary mystery, continually challenging the forensic and criminal community. Reflections: the Zodiac's legacy in criminal history. The Zodiac Killer's saga is more than a chapter in criminal history. It is a milestone in how society responds to, understands, and is affected by acts of profound evil. His legacy is not built merely on the atrocities he committed, but significantly on the conversations he initiated about justice, media responsibility, and public engagement in the investigative process. By remaining elusive, the Zodiac has inadvertently prompted advancements in criminal science, changes in media approaches, and sustained public discourse on safety and security. His impact is thus paradoxically both destructive and constructive, underscoring an uncomfortable truth about the complexities of crime and its reverberation through society. In closing, the Zodiac Killer's story is a chilling reminder of the fragility of public safety and the dark allure of the unknown. As we continue to probe the shadows he cast, we learn not only about the depths of human depravity, but also about our collective resilience and indefatigable desire for resolution and understanding.